This is a one of one car, guys. This is a one of one car, and we're gonna go talk to the guy who owns it and found it. This was found, it was raced back in the day, and it was found in a storage container. So welcome to another episode of Junkyards and Barn Finds with Sean, and I'm Sean. All right, guys. So this is a 70 Dodge Challenger. It's a one of one. It's the only Hemi to exist in this color combination, beige tan. So options include the Hemi, Dana 60, track pack, rim blower, steering wheel, and tinted windows. This is out of York, Pennsylvania.
And we had this unveiled out of the CAC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm Sean, and we have a YouTube channel called Junkyards and Barn Finds.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about it.
So this car came out of northern New Jersey, and I've got almost the entire history on it. It was originally purchased by Al Waller, 1970. His son is coming Sunday morning to see it for the first time. He hasn't seen it since his dad.
Now, did it need to be restored?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay.
It was actually in surprisingly good shape, but Al Waller, when he bought this car new, took it home, pulled the motor, took it to Rogers Speed Shop, and had it rebuilt to over 700 horsepower. And the story goes that in 1970, this was the car to beat in northern New Jersey.
Okay. Street racing, like down Front Street, Jersey, all that stuff?
10-second car in 1970, which was really fast.
Was, yeah, because in the 80s, a 12-second was still fast.
So Keith was telling me that he only ever saw his dad lose one race.
Right.
And he said it was to a Mustang. He said he remembered it had no back seat and had a parachute on the back.
So it was a pro stock. Before pro stock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a picture of the motor, which was pretty cool. So when he rebuilt this motor, he put a solid lift roller cam in it. Well, solid lift cam, you now have to adjust the valves.
Right.
You got to do lash. Well, a Hemi with a brake booster, you can't get the driver's side valve cover off, right? So he took the brake, put the battery in the trunk. He actually had two batteries in the trunk.
Right.
And I have a picture of this because no one would ever believe it. But he moved the brake booster up to the radiator support and had a rod running down through the engine to operate his brakes so he could get his valve cover off.
Wow.
And it's just the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And the second owner confirmed it, because when he bought it, he says, "Yeah, it's just the craziest thing. The brake booster was on the radiator support."
It makes sense though. I mean, it's like out of the box thinking, but still, it's like okay,
until
it's just
they
a
got
straight
that,
rod.
until they got that, they had an adapter plate that allowed you to move the brake booster over.
Right.
But that was much later.
Yeah.
So he had to. That was that was the backyard solution to the problem.
So you obviously did a rotisserie everything on this.
Yes.
And how did you get the car?
So it showed up on Facebook Marketplace 4 years ago, and it was out of Jersey. It's been a Jersey car almost its entire life. And the guy had it in a Connex box, and so.
Now, did he know what he had, or did he kind of know what he had?
No, Craig kind of knew what he had.
Okay.
And the story goes that his brother-in-law was a body shop mechanic. And the car, when I first saw it, when he pulled it out of the Connex box, it was on dollies.
Right.
It was a shell, it was on dollies. And it had been painted, but that was back in 91.
So I'm gonna say, no, like probably nobody is gonna keep it this color that buys one back in the day.
So back in the day, Mazzoni was gonna paint it red.
Right.
Because he didn't like the color. Craig had it restored, or he had the body done back in 91, and it was beige. He had it painted beige. But his brother-in-law died. So he just basically wheeled it into a Connex box, closed the doors, and now he had all the parts, he had the motor and everything for it. But
with the good intentions that everybody always has,
yes,
one day
I'll restore it,
I'll put it together.
And he just decided to get rid of it 4 years ago, and as soon as I saw the ad, I immediately messaged him, and he asked me where I live. I said, Pennsylvania. He says, when can you be here? I said, tomorrow. Wow. And so I immediately made a run down over to Jersey and bought it.
Right. And now is the metal as good as it looks, or did it have to be finessed? Because up here, I mean, I'm from Pennsylvania, really. I live in Florida now. There's no rust on stuff, but up here, you know, so everything rusted.
There was 36,000 miles on the car. The car spent a great deal of its time in storage.
Okay, so that's what saved it.
Yes. Well, from 91 on, it was in a Connex box.
That's what I'm saying. So it was just.
And the only rust we found was the rear trunk extensions were replaced, because when Al had it, he had 2 batteries in the trunk on the other side, and you know, acid boiling over eventually. Right.
Especially racing, you're. Yeah. Overcharging them and stuff with the. Yeah. And the long lines and stuff. But so and the interior was. Is that like pretty much there?
It's all restored. Yeah.
Right, but I mean it had the console and had everything. Just
from the factory. It has the rim blow steering wheel on it.
Right.
That's just as it was from the factory. And I have the build sheet for the car.
Wow.
But what was really cool was we were puzzled for a little while. It took us a while to figure it out, because there were 2 holes in the cowling. Right. One on the other side. And we were kind of puzzled, and we thought, well, maybe it was, maybe they had a hood pin there. And I had put a post out saying, does anybody remember this car? Right. And a guy wrote me back and says, yes. He says, I remember this car running at Englishtown. Okay. And I said, what can you tell me about it? And he said, I remember, he said the wheel wells were opened up, and it had a beige colored TA hood on it. Bingo, that was it. So the second owner was racing it in Englishtown. Okay. And then he converted it back to a street machine about 1980.
That's why the hood pins were there. Yep.
Yeah. So all of this started making sense, you know, once I was contacting previous owners of the car.
Right. Well, so, I mean, I love 101. You know, like that's like the best thing for my channel, doing barn find junk and stuff. And I consider something like this a barn find, even though it wasn't a barn, because it's just sitting there for years, not being seen, not in daylight. Nobody knew it was there, probably.
Well, there's a bunch of Hemi guys. Vasily Vasilov, who was one of, I think, the original founders of the Northeast Hemi Owners Association. He was with the 3rd owner when he bought the car at Englishtown, at a swap meet. Okay. And he knew Mazzoni had it, and then he lost track of it. Right. And so all these Hemi guys that remembered the car, they were shocked, you know, when this thing shows up 25 years later that, it's still alive.
So, and how long did it take for the
4 years.
the restoration? Now, did you do it or did you have?
No, I had it done. I did the parts hunting. Did a lot.
You did the stuff you could do, but then you brought in the guys that can do what they can do.
This is way beyond my talent.
Right.
I mean, I have some other Mopars, and I've done a lot of work on them over the years, but I knew this car was special and it needed to be done right.
Yeah. Well, hey, thank you for talking to us.
You
and
bet.
stuff.
Absolutely.
So appreciate it. So do you guys have a YouTube or any kind of social media that people can see anything about the build or no? Or not? If it's okay, no big deal. I put a
Carolina
link to
Classic
it.
Restorations, I think, has something on it.
Okay.
And it was out at McCacken. There's video of it out there.
Okay. So if you guys remember anything about the car, to the guys, put in the comments. If you were in Englishtown, New Jersey, I wonder if they raced it at Maple Grove too. No, it was always English. It was always an Englishtown car. All right. So if you guys are watching and you see it and you know anything about this car, because obviously you probably remember it because of the paint.
Right.
So if there's anybody our age that would remember this, put something in comments. Let them know if you have any memories, any photos of it. If you guys have any of your cars, put a photo down. If you have this in the background or something, I'm sure you guys would appreciate any kind of history on it.
Yep.
So
yeah, we're looking for the second owner between 1975 and 1980.
all right, so if you were the second owner, you know who the second owner was.
Yep.
You think you know who the second owner was.
Somewhere around Belleville, New Jersey.
Belleville, New Jersey. Put any information down you guys have. Thanks a lot, and thanks for watching on this one. April, should they subscribe to this channel even if they don't like cars today for this one?
Probably just for this one.
Where it says merchandise store right here, merchandise store link, you will see it says https:/junkyards-barn-finds, and you click on that and it's going to take you here.